Pedro Pascal is the guy. Ricky Flicks, straight up, do you like the casting?
I don't think so.
Whoa.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I am a Pedro Pascal aficionado. And I know you said that off the top. But I don't know if he's a Reed Richards. Like, we're talking about the smartest man in the universe. And Pedro Pascal is a little stocky. And I don't see him as Mr. Fantastic. I can't see. He's not really that tall either, and like lanky. He's more broad. He's gonna be in Gladiator 2 for a reason. He's the Mandalorian for a reason. The Last of Us, like Triple Frontier. Like I'm just saying, like he's not Mr. Fantastic. I just feel like this is a desperate shout for the MCU, a desperation casting, saying we need to get someone big, right? We need to get someone good, and someone that be willing to do it. Because hey, we struck out Adam Driver. We did John Krasinski for the cameo, but like he's not big enough. He's not good enough. So they went around, and Pedro Pascal, everyone loves him, and you're gonna assume like, oh, everyone will love this casting. But for me, it's like, is he a Mr. Fantastic? It's no, he's not. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Hopefully, like he could play a Reed Richards, but from his filmography, he's more of like the burly like not necessarily like genius, but not dumb, but like not a genius in any of his filmography. He's gonna have to play one here. Like I don't know. Like what do you think? Like am I crazy here?
I want to play devil's advocate really badly. I want to say it's hard to find a more popular actor in the IP genre, action genre, than Pedro Pascal. To me, he was destined to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I just didn't think it was going to be as Mr. Fantastic. This, I would consider, you use the word desperate, I use the word safe for Marvel. This is a casting where it was impossible for the majority of audiences to dismiss. This is The Mandalorian, for God's sakes, right? Last of Us, major hit for HBO. Okay. Whatever he has touched has turned to gold. And I think it's come to the point where the MCU needs to have a well received team up movie at in this multiverse saga. We need to have one. We are heading towards Thunderbolts, okay, kind of like a Suicide Squad type of team, right, with some heroes that are kind of C and B level that we want to be able to put our faith in, but we really can't trust. We just had a team up movie with the Marvels that bombs incredibly badly, mostly in the financial range. Pedro Pascal is going to bring the dollars, but he also can bring the star appeal that's necessary for the Fantastic Four. When you look at Jamie Dornan and Christopher Abbott, they don't have the allure of Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal, my trepidations with Pedro Pascal has to do with how old he is, to be honest. Not only because his filmography, like you said, where he has never really come off as this highly intelligent being, one that makes everyone feel smaller in the room, but rather he just has a glow about him on screen, you know? And that's the movie star effect, I think, of Pedro Pascal. I also think he's a good actor. But I don't think him being 48 years old when he's entering the MCU, this is the Fantastic Four, the first time they're being introduced to the MCU, and we want to believe they're going to be around for at least a decade, right? But by casting a 48-year-old Mr. Fantastic, he should already be a dad, right? He's got to be in this first movie. He's going to be in Secret Wars, whatever Kang Dynasty ends up becoming. We'll get to it on today's checkup. And then we hope for beyond, you know? And I just think having someone cast at 48, it's like casting like Robert Downey Jr. at the time he was like in his mid to late 40s for Iron Man 3. It's like time has passed, you know? It's just the safe move, but I don't know if it's going to work out long term. Thoughts?
That's a great point. He's 48, so that's old. And you're looking at, Sue Storm, who's most likely playing her on the rumor on the street is Vanessa Kirby. Do you know how old Vanessa Kirby is?
32, 33?
She's 35.
Okay.
So 13-year age gap there. But there is like, a little bit of a gap. We have mentioned, like Jax has been on and mentioned. And I do have an official comment from Jax. If I could read that now if you want.
Voice memo?
No voice, no voice. But his official comment. Strangely enough, I don't hate Pedro Pascal as Reed. I did not, all caps, did not want Adam Driver, honestly, and everyone else kind of didn't feel right. But I think I kind of love Pascal as Reed in some weird way. And then I responded like, wow, like, it doesn't seem like a Mr. Fantastic to me and the smartest man in the universe. And he goes, I feel like he could be, though. Like, he's low-key got the look of a Reed, in my opinion. In a perfect world, they would have gotten someone lesser known and just made him a star. But out of everyone we've heard, I hate Pascal the least. And then he goes, Sue is technically 10 plus years younger than Reed in the comics, like I just said. So makes sense. Again, the look I just disagree with. I don't agree with that either. But I see where he's coming from. And he also mentions a Bardem comment, but I'll leave that to later.
You know, I don't hate Jamie Dornan. I really don't. And you know what that casting would remind me of, Ricky Flicks? A little bit of Robert Pattinson action.
Wow.
Okay. In terms of, I'm not saying Jamie Dornan's on the level of Robert Pattinson. Almost nobody is on the level of Robert Pattinson. We know he's pretty much the TDI's favorite young actor going right now. Maybe just favorite actor in general, alongside of Leo.
Yeah.
But I thought like this is an opportunity. He's trying to shade the 50. He's trying to literally shed the 50 Shades of Grey like ilk off of him. And we know what he had a great turn in Belfast from Kenneth Branagh, another former MCU director. I thought it would be interesting if he was cast as a younger Reed Richards alongside a younger like Vanessa Kirby. I think that would have actually worked. And instead, they went for the safe play. Jamie Dornan would have been the risky one. Christopher Abbott, he's like the third man, like third wheel, someone that we really would have been out of left field. And I think fans would have been upset because of like the continuous star power that the MCU seems to gather. And if you cast Christopher Abbott in like a central role of the MCU, people would have thrown their hands up. I thought Jamie Dornan would be like in between those two castings. That would make more sense. But Pedro Pascal, you guarantee satisfaction from fans. That's why I think it's so safe, you know? And this whole cast seems, when you look at it from top down, starting with Pedro Pascal, the whole cast feels kind of safe at this point. Vanessa Kirby is like, you couldn't get Margot Robbie, but who's someone that kind of looks like Margot Robbie, but also, right, nominated for an Oscar, right? Vanessa Kirby nominated for Piece of a Woman?
Yes.
Okay, Oscar nominee, still has that star power, going to be starring in Napoleon. Then you have Eben Moss-Backrack, the most likable character in the most popular show that isn't like major IP related. And then you have Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things. Like, to me, you couldn't pick. It was almost like you looked at a Twitter timeline and said, like, these four definitely work, you know? And I think that is kind of what the MCU needs at a time of such turmoil and such highs and lows, where we get Loki in the same week as the Marvels. I just find the whole thing very safe. I don't have too high of hopes, but I'm not rock bottom on the prospects of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I'm definitely not rock bottom either. Like, it's not a terrible casting. I'm just saying, like, would I have preferred someone else? Yeah. And I do agree with Jax. Like, the rumor mill around who was Reed Richards, and who rejected it. Like, I don't know. Like, if you could have done better, I think you just go with, you know, someone that's not well known. But obviously, Marvel, I think, is desperate, you know, to get back to on top, you know, and make sure they please audiences. And they pick someone, Pedro Pascal, a Disney connection with The Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal, and fans are automatically going to have a positive opinion going into the theater on it, you know? Yep. And Vanessa Kirby, she's a great actress. She's one of my favorite actresses out there working today. And Napoleon next week, Napoleon next week, Napoleon next week. Possibly 2 Oscar nominations before the Fantastic Four.
Wait, Ricky, is Napoleon coming out next week?
Let me think about it. Yes, it's coming out next week.
Napoleon next week.
And Vanessa Kirby, rumored to be could be the lead, Sue Storm, the lead in Fantastic Four.
Ooh, good point.
So, like, again, Pedro Pascal, you know, supporting character here. That would be interesting. And same with like a Joseph Quinn, Eben Moss-Backrack, like that all pans out to me. So, like, I don't hate this quad team, this team. I don't hate the team. I just, like, at first glance, and even just thinking about it, it's just like, I feel like we could have done better if we weren't so like, oh, we have to get back on top.
I don't hate Jax's take where he kind of has the look of a like Reed Richards, even though like we were thinking about having a younger Reed Richards, like every time we see him in the comic books, he has like the silver streaks of hair going across like
The hair
like
works.
the side of his temple. I think Pedro Pascal like obviously can rock that. Um, and it's just I think the filmography thing where he's never played the smartest dude in the room, but we're supposed to believe that. I'm expecting him to bring it because I have no reason to think differently. Pedro Pascal's good at playing like alongside a team though, right? So like him in The Mandalorian, him as the lead, but also sharing the screen, right, with all these different characters, fan favorite characters. It gives me promise that like it's not just the Reed Richards show. And you even talked about Vanessa Kirby potentially being the lead here. So in that case, I also think it works. Okay. Any other thoughts on Pedro
Last thing would
Pascal?
be, so Marvel's gonna want to be. They'll probably announce this by the end of the year, all these castings, because they have to start filming soon. This is a 2025 movie, and they're kind of like hamstrung by that now because they pushed out King Dynasty, whatever that may be, 2026, Secret Wars 2027. They need Fantastic Four before all the Avenger movies. So it's like you got to start filming. So they're gonna announce this soon. And Pedro Pascal has a busy schedule in 2024 filming. And I think you read it out before. So this is going to be like, okay, Kevin Feige is going to be like, hey, this takes precedent. But he already has other projects that already started filming, like Gladiator 2 already has been through film, like started filming,
It's about to resume.
and it's about to resume. Exactly. So like, I just feel like it's going to be a little juggling act here. And hopefully we we hit a level playing field where we're not in and out cast. Like that's like the worst when you hear rumors that like actors are in and out, especially in a team movie, like where it relies on chemistry. If you're doing multiple things at once or you're juggling between multiple projects, that's just on pace for disaster. So hopefully, this takes precedent a little bit, but hopefully it doesn't take away Gladiator 2 because that'll be one of my most anticipated films of that year over Fantastic Four probably.
I think that this casting also says a lot about the prospects of Pedro Pascal's future. To be honest, like he's really busy right now, but I think Mr. Fantastic is going to take precedent over his career. And I think like people that were hoping that maybe he like goes into more prestige projects, getting cast in Gladiator 2 and getting cast in Zach Krieger's follow up to Barbarian. It's like, oh my God, is he going to make like a little bit of a pivot in his career? But I think by being and agreeing to Mr. Fantastic, he is fully hell bent on being the A-list blockbuster actor going. I think this decision kind of said so. So when everything calms down, I think he's just Reed Richards.
Yeah, I agree. I never viewed him as like someone that would make that turn to like try to be an Oscar nominated actor. He loves like being in like think Kingsman. He was in Kingsman, and I feel like he's more like a Chris Pratt in that regard.
I was gonna make that comparison. I didn't want to say it, but I was thinking that where it's just like, okay, this is who he is.
Yeah, I feel like he's just comfortable with that, and that's fine. Like his personality, like him and Oscar Isaac and in those pictures and like everything like that. Like I just feel like that's who he is, and I'm fine with that. So like him taking on Fantastic Four, Reed Richards, it's just like, yeah, like I understand why he would want to do this.
He loves being loved.
Yeah, he's not like Adam Driver, where it's like I'm going for Oscars. I'm going to be the actor of my generation. He's not doing that.